Today is a moment which might go down in prehistory. Thanks so much for watching. Today we're taking a look at the Rlaarlo MK07. I have no idea how to pronounce this brand name. It's R-L-A-A-R-L-O. Rlaarlo. But curiously enough, then on the box you will see shots of the box as well. I don't have it here because it is massive. It says Krobol, and I'm not sure what brands what, but this was sent to me by Rlaarlo. So the Krobol might be like where it is rebranded from. On the radio box you do see Rlaarlo. In case you wonder how you write it exactly like that. So you take a hand of Scrabble letters, you throw them on the floor, bunch them up, and then it says Rlaarlo. First impressions. Let's talk about the truck, the radio, and everything. This is, of course, an SCX7, because that's essentially what it is. This is a pretty much blown up version of any type of a trail truck that you've seen. Not quite as big as an SCX6, but a tiny bit smaller. So this is a 1/7 scale. They call this the MK07 1/7 scale trail truck. First impressions, you know what, it looks pretty decent. The only thing that I immediately noticed is once you pull it out of the box, plastics are a tiny bit on the cheap side. Perhaps the front bumper really protrudes quite a lot, and I was afraid that I was going to snap it off when pulling it out of the box. But so far so good. Overall quality, it is very detailed. I did need to put the stickers on, and this is the Jurassic Park, and I guess they don't have the official license because that would make them end up in a lot of trouble. But it's called Dinosaur Age. So those are the stickers that you need to put on yourself to make it look like a Jurassic Park truck without it officially being a Jurassic Park truck. And it's almost like I knew that this moment was coming because I have a t-shirt that is also not an officially licensed Jurassic Park themed Hemistorm RC shirt. The first thing that I did notice is that it has like a Proline Hyrax clone type of a tire, which I'm not too much of a fan of. Pretty hard in its compound. It does seem to be glued on the rim, and also on the inside of every single wheel there is a brass wheel weight. Apart from that, it does seem like they kept it kind of original. So you see some molded parts where you do not see those in the competition. So for example, there's a snorkel over here, there's some hood latches, there's hinges on all of the doors. There's then an angry grill. I'm not sure why they went with an angry grill or a disappointed grill, I guess, because it's not super angry, but it is definitely not a happy type of Jeep. This is of course not an officially licensed Jeep product either. But, well, you know, again, very detailed. So sand ladders on the back, it weighs a ton. And then you have an incredible amount of lights on this entire truck. I'm not sure what it weighs, but it is pretty significant. It has 8mm stainless steel links in the bottom, and then combined with everything that is going on, all of the features, all of the electronics, and of course those brass weights on every single corner. It does mean that you're talking about quite a heavy truck. It is four-wheel drive. It is also a portal axle truck. We will take this out also in today's video for like an initial shakedown, just to see what it feels like out on the trails. You can shift it from four-wheel drive to rear-wheel drive only or front-wheel drive only. You can open and lock the diffs individually as well. So there are a lot of features that you have seen perhaps in some of the competing brands, because of course Traxxas came out with the lockable diffs, and changing from two-wheel drive to four-wheel drive is also nothing new. But to see everything combined in one truck, well, you know, for them to release this as a first trail truck, I think it is pretty ballsy. Has a high gear, has a low gear, and then it has a fantastic radio, because this radio is definitely impressive. I already had a bit of a look at it, and it has a ton of features. This is an 8-channel radio that also doubles as a music box with a pretty big screen. It is a full color screen. You can set this up completely to your liking, and there is a big manual that follows along with the truck, so you can set it up any which way that you want. It has a foam wheel with like a faux brake disc and caliper on the inside. It then has the ability for some thumb steering. It was set up extremely small on the trigger, really for like a child finger. And I have quite big fingers and quite big hands, so I needed to adjust this a tiny bit to make sure that my finger actually slotted into the trigger. But once I had, it was nice to find my way around it. Let's quickly connect the battery and then have a look at what we find. Immediately upon powering it up fully, you can see that there's a ton of lights going on this truck, and it only becomes more. Steering servo seems quite powerful actually. It then, of course, does the indicator lights when you do the steering. And what I did find is that right out of the box, you do need to adjust the steering rate a tiny bit. So it is set for a limit of like 70% out of the box, and you can really tune that up to 95 or 100% to just have a look that your endpoints aren't like fully reached. It has a panhard setup in the front, 4-link in the back, so all of it is pretty traditional. But then of course the 1/7 scale size is new in this segment of RC. Going through some of the features, this is the switch that will then allow you to enable front or rear wheel drive. This is the high and low gear right below that. And then on top of here are a ton of switches which will allow you to do a number of things. One of them, the A switch, is to engage and disengage the front diff lock. The C switch is to do the same thing, but then in the back. So if you want to disengage the diff lock in the back, you can just press that C switch. And then the B switch is, I think, one that really made me chuckle a tiny bit, because this is the one that will allow you to steer all of the lights. And there are so many lights going on this truck that you will really be able to have a lot of fun with it. So one of the first clicks, I'm not sure what it does, but I think it actually affects the high beam. And then when you press it again, it's like audible noises every single time. You get the bumper lights as well, or the fog lights. Then there is also this big light bar up top, plus lights in the grille. So if you combine all of that with the lights that are also going on in the back, it is really, it's a Christmas tree of lights. Pressing it again makes things really interesting. This is really, I'm not sure what this is, but if you are a they, them, or you have a lot of pronoun happy friends or letter friends, the LBGTQ LRC community will be super happy to see that all of these rainbow colors as well have been added to the spectrum, making it look like a total unicorn. And then combined with the Dinosaur Age livery, I think it makes it absolutely hilarious. Pressing it again makes this a happy truck for our first responders. So if you see somebody and they're wearing something dodgy and you want to approach them as the fashion police, you just enable these lights and you can arrest them. Pressing it again, you can check people if they have perhaps epilepsy, because this type of strobe light, I'm not sure if this is everyone's cup of tea. It makes me very nervous. Pressing it again will do like a tiny bit of like LBGTQ Night Rider effect with a ton of different colors and blinkies. And then pressing it again, will that bring us back to normal? Yeah, that will bring us back to a normal, calm state in which we have also found the truck initially. So, electronics-wise, it is almost ridiculous what is going on in this Rlaarlo MK07. Let's look at some of the more technical stuff. So I will open the truck, turn it off for the time being. Also to make sure that I don't get any seizures, and then we will have a look at what is actually going on the inside. Now initially I was a tiny bit apprehensive perhaps with the plastics quality of like the front bumper and then also of that roof rack, but when we look inside it kind of becomes, I think, a bit better than what I was initially expecting. One thing that does really concern me is the amount of weight that you put on the rear hinge. Seeing that this is a fully loaded body, so there's a big interior panel, tons of electronics. So you got those headlights, you got the grille, and then you have a couple of, I don't even know what to call them, but switchboards in which you can plug even more lights. This truck has more lights than I have on all of the other trucks in my entire collection, I dare say. But it does stay up. Full internal cage as well inside of that Dinosaur Age themed body. and it does really, I don't know, it makes me a tiny bit nervous to lean all of that weight back just on that hinge. Oil-filled shocks, I find the oil a bit thin, so it's a very bouncy setup right out of the box. I have no idea what type of spec this steering servo is. I did find that it is pretty quick, seems to have quite a bit of torque, but we will see if it browns out on the trails. I'm not sure what type of ESC this is, but I do think that it is waterproof, but we will figure that out once we run it through a puddle when we are outside. Big brushed motor. It is mounted up front just to enable you to also have perhaps a full interior if you want to go that route. It is built with a lot of hints taken from other brands, I think. Inner fenders that also allow for some rock lights to be mounted to it. Big floorboards, and then on one side you see the ESC power switch and one switchable, I think this is for the 2- and 4-wheel drive servo. The other servo for switching high and low gear is located underneath the battery tray, and then you have 2 smaller servos on this side that then pull and push the cables to open and lock the diffs. Apart from that, CNC machined frame rails with some orange anodization going on them. I'm not sure if this damper in the front, if it actually dampens anything, so there's some orange anodization in this push rod as well, and I'm thinking that there might be some sort of servo saver function on this damper. If we turn the truck upside down, you will see that it has steel drive shafts. All of the gears inside of this truck as well are chromium steel machined. I'm thinking that it should also then go for the axles and then the portals. You can see inside of those wheels that those wheel weights are absolutely massive, and I'm really not sure what I feel about these plates mounted to the pumpkins of the axles. The front pumpkin is off center, the rear is centered, so that should help a tiny bit with the torque twist as well, and it should keep that drivetrain as straight as possible, seeing that it comes in a pretty straight line, and from the transfer case using these steel drive shafts, this all feels very beefy and well made. I'm very curious to see how these axles hold up in the real world, especially seeing the amount of weight that they have put on the ends of them. 8mm stainless steel links in the front and in the back, and then also in the top, and then also going to that panhard. Panhard mount is plastic. I'm not sure if that's going to have any issues in the long run, but we will see that as well. I think that's enough talk, because for me there's no way to judge this truck just by its cover. I hope that there will be good aftermarket part support, or I hope that there will be good access to replacement parts in case we need them. I think with all of these obscure brands, that is the biggest issue, is the availability of spare parts and the availability of upgrades. We've seen that in the past with, for example, Traction Hobby. I hope that Rlaarlo has a better supply of spare parts and of upgrades than they have had, because I think the failure rate or the success rate of a brand really depends on its support in the long run, and on being able to support the people who have supported the brand by allowing them to continue to repair and continue to upgrade their vehicles. Let's charge your battery and take it out for a spin. conclusion about the Rlaarlo MK07 so far. It's a good truck. It does what it's supposed to do. So you have all of the functionality, everything works. There's a lot of detail that needs to be, I think, still figured out. For example, tire compound, it's a bit on the hard side. The front bumper, I really don't like it. It gets caught up practically everywhere. And there is a lot of merit in it having all of those wheel weights, but in how far that's actually down to the chassis being great, that's kind of difficult to tell. There's 230 grams of brass on each corner, and that's really keeping the truck planted. But in some cases, if you're about to shift weight and your axle is just pivoting the wrong way, it can definitely throw you off. And in that case, all of those details on the body, they will greatly suffer from all of that additional weight that you have on the chassis. So it's a valiant attempt, that it definitely is. I think it all kind of comes down to price point. If this is a $500 or $600 truck, I say get it, you know. It is something different than everything else that's out there. If it is more expensive than that, I would be a tiny bit on the fence. It's definitely a lot smaller than an axial SCX6. Build quality isn't quite there yet, but it is a promising new offering. Link to the Rlaarlo or Crowball MK07 will be in the video description box. I hope you enjoyed this video. Share it with your friends. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the box below. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Take care. See you around. Bye-bye.
Test. We're back on.